And now to give you another example of someone who isn't on the screen. He isn't on the screen. He's presenting information, but making it very pleasing to the eyes. Pleasing to the eyes, let's say. Is Shake It Off. Shake It Off.
Hi there. You may be wondering why I am creating these videos. Why would anybody set out to criticize a single religion when there are so many different religions in the world? Why pick Islam? It's a valid question, and we will get to the answer before the end of this video. Before that, though, I would like to be fair and share some of the positive impacts Islam has had on the world.
Why are you laughing, AP? By the way, AP, how is this with your
setting up something funny? So.
How is this with your ADHD? Because you're still just narrating. But
it's good because it has a very good flow.
Good flow. Okay.
Yeah.
Liberation of
Islam is a religion that liberates women and promotes women's rights. Some even say that Mohammed was the first feminist. As a woman in Islam, you are privileged enough that your husband is restricted to having only 4 wives. Unless you were married to Mohammed, he was allowed as many wives as he liked, and sources report that he had as many as 11 at one time.
Pause. See, this is the thing. This just, this might be, I react very positively to this because...
you just like people making fun of stuff.
Because I share the sense of humor. I share the I love sarcasm when I see it, and this uses sarcasm in a very nice way without dragging it, in a very quick way to deliver it and just keep punching, and in a very smooth way. I just like it. I don't know.
That's another. That's a related point, Celeria, is that so AP is loving sarcasm here because AP loves sarcasm. You have other people who hate sarcasm. You have other people who can't stand it. I can't believe you're being sarcastic. It's the worst. It's the unforgivable sin. So that's another thing to think about is kind of the tone of your videos and being pretty consistent with it. Because you do have people who just want straightforward information. You have other people who want infotainment. They want to be entertained and stuff. And sarcasm is one of the ways to do that and so on. So you have to figure out planning your target audience. What kind of people are you trying to reach? And then sticking with that and being consistent with that. Because if you're changing tone and you're changing the way you speak and so on, again, it's a kind of channel confusion.
If your husband being with another woman bothers you, fear not. You may not even know of your husband's other relationships, given it's permissible to lie about having another wife to your first wife if you know it will upset her.
I like actually it includes the search and then exactly what the video is, so everyone can basically go find this video.
So can they lie in the context of, for example, if one says, "I sense that you've got a second wife," can he say, "No, I don't"?
Yes, you can. You can say that.
You can say that.
Yes, I personally believe this is the hadith on the Master. لا يحل الكذب إلا في ثلاث. The Prophet said you can do it. If someone does this,
just a little cutaway of a girl,
and they get caught, for example, or something happens, or
or she just asks him, "Where were you last night?"
Yeah, but even that, he can lie.
White lie?
It doesn't have to be white. It can be a black lie. Sorry to say. I'm not.
By the way, everyone watching, there's a reason this video is doing well. So just notice the difference. You could present all of this as, you could just say all the same things, but just little cutaways. Little cutaways are adding something. They're adding something that's making AP giggle like a little kid.
Yeah.
those little things, they add up. If it makes you watch a little bit longer, again, if a watch time goes from 3 minutes to 4 minutes or from 7 minutes to 8 minutes, that's a huge difference for the algorithm. So, yep, these all help. These little tiny things.
This idea of a white lie it's a modern day thing that people say. There's in the classical works. Yeah. There's no differentiation there here in the kutub. Jurisprudential, the man can do it. It's up to the man. No woman can take that right away from the man. It's impossible.
So let's get this right, yeah? So that Islamically, any of us can get a secret second wife.
Absolutely.
Or any man for that
No,
matter.
not secret. We can get... Islamically, there is no problem in a man getting...
That's based.
It's so messed up, though. I mean, I'm not even talking about Shake It Off's video here. I'm talking about this, what they're doing. These going back. I mean, this is a while back, but these 4 guys and basically manipulating these girls into agreeing that they're actually bad wives if they don't, if they're not on board with their husbands getting all these extra wives and stuff. They're the bad ones. And no one can take that right away from a man. You see, no woman has a right to take that away from a man. And why we lie to her? It's like, gosh.
That's the thing. That's immediately what I see. Like the entire the sole purpose.
Hey, how'd you get all
setting up this
staticky
show-
again? How does you do that? Very staticky. What'd you do?
How about now?
That's better. What'd you do?
Okay, I don't know. I just changed my settings. But that's exactly what I see when I the entire purpose of this whole show here, where they set up the studio and invite the women on. The entire purpose, all I see from the beginning, is just to invite the women on and to tell them to justify all these things into their face and to basically use them in order to show why men can do whatever they want and why women should just shut up and accept it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I see here.
That's the purpose of the entire program. Yes.
Yeah.
And guys, when you see something like Ali Dawah having his wife ride on a dry erase board, this all connected. Because he'll say, "Oh, this is her choice. Yeah, it's her choice. She wants to write on the whiteboard. Yeah." In reality, it's a status symbol for him, but it's all connected to this. This program is a program on how to manipulate women into doing things that are against their advantage and to the man's advantage, no matter what. And how do you do that? You condition them, and then you program them, and then you get them to be what you want while thinking that they're making the choices all along. It's pathetic. Disgusting stuff.
Married to another woman in Hijab without the first wife's knowledge. And there's no khilaf in this.
Yeah.
There's actually...
He keeps doing the same cutaway, and AP keeps giggling every single time.
I didn't giggle, I just smirked.
You smirked. You were sniggering.
not seen one solitary difference of opinion in any of the 14 generations of Islam. It's not there.
Which is?
Any scholar saying that no, a woman needs to know, she needs to tell her, doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Isn't this screwed up reasoning, by the way? This is Mohammed Hijab saying, think about this. Is it okay to lie to my wife about having extra wives on the side and keeping her in the dark and lying to her? So she says, hey, where'd you go? Why are you coming back all sweaty? What you been doing? Oh, I just came from the gym. Even though I was actually banging my Dawah buddy's 9-year-old daughter and stuff like that, who's my secret second wife. And why do you think that's okay? Why do you think that's okay to do? Well, I looked through the various scholars. I haven't seen a Muslim scholar ever condemn this. And that means it's okay. That means it's okay. This is what you're dealing with. This is some messed up stuff. If you can't find a Muslim scholar from your school who says that it's wrong, go ahead. It doesn't matter how evil it sounds. And then you're conditioning these women. Oh, well, if a Muslim scholar doesn't say that it's wrong, then okay, who am I to say that it's wrong? So I just have to agree.
This is actually this is an Islamic issue, but to be very honest and very fair, this is even more so a Salafi issue. Salafis have this big obsession of going back to the earlier generations and what the scholars who are specifically traditionalist say, and how they base their knowledge on the first generations, and they have this way of almost worshipping and venerating beyond reason their scholars and saying, well, this scholar here explained that it is okay to do this and this and this, therefore we can do this and this and this and this. It's just such a ridiculous way of operating, and they're doing precisely what the Quran accuses Jews and Christians of doing, which is they're taking their scholars in this case as
Ouch.
gods because Allah.
Burn. Yep, that is an issue. Valid point there. Valid point. So, yeah, don't think that all Muslims are like these guys. Sadly, this is just a version of Islam that is becoming very, very popular on the internet. So, yeah, rough stuff, man. Rough stuff.
Moreover, even the Prophet Muhammad himself. I mean, there's a verse in the Quran, وَإِذْ أَصَرَّ النَّبِيُّ إِلَى بَعْضِ أَزْوَاجِهِ حَدِيثًا. If no one thought about this verse. When the Prophet, he kept a secret from some of his wives. Some scholars, I'm not going to go into detail, but some scholars actually connect this with an incident with Maria the Copt and so on. And I'm not going to go into detail.
The reason Mohammed Hijab is not going to go into detail about Maria the Copt is that she was actually one of Muhammad's sex slaves. Yes, Islam allows men to have sex slaves in addition to their wives.
A Muslim man can have up to 4 wives at once. And in addition to the 4 wives, he can have an unlimited number of concubines, which refer to women who are basically have slave status. When they are owned by her master, a woman owned by her master has to freely give herself to the master. The master has the right to have sexual relations with her.
And how does
Look, you just did it again. I'm laughing because I'm laughing just because you're snickering.
I know. It works. I like it.
Anyway, takeaway there is easy to add small elements that add something to a video. By the way, it was good pointing out why hijabs. I'm not going to go into details. It's like, okay, I'm already giving you ladies a lot of stuff to be concerned about here. I don't want to add on this whole story about Muhammad banging his sex slave and then swearing an oath, trying to cover it up, and then swearing an oath to his wives that he won't do it again, and then getting a magical revelation saying, you could break your oath and go back to banging your slave girl and so on. Didn't want to talk about that right there. The ladies already had plenty to think about.
Does consent play into this at all, or can we understand anything about consent from this end? Like, does the female slave have to consent to that, or is it kind of like because she's owned and so therefore?
In the classical thought, the understanding is that by virtue of the fact that she's owned, she does not have the right to consent. Or to withhold herself from her master. The master has the full right over her, and her consent does not play anything in this relationship.
And Muhammad, the pattern of conduct for all Muslims, got caught having sex with his slave Maria in the bed of his wife Hafsa.
It's better you hear it from me than from others. And also, this is in the Quran. So you can't really this is a verse in the Quran. It is reported in Tabari that, and many other books of tafsir, that one day Hafsa went away and she was not going to be at home. And so the Prophet called Maria to the house of Hafsa. And
don't you love this? It's better you hear this from me. It's better you hear this from me than from David Wood or the Apostate prophet.
He actually said that. Wow, man.
This is one of the great.
He's aware.
Yeah, this is one of the great things that's happened in recent years, ladies and gentlemen. For centuries, these kinds of guys would have kept this completely hidden from their listeners and followers. They got to the point where their followers are hearing all these criticisms and issues, and they're only hearing them from us. And then this guy actually realizes it's better off if they hear it from me. That way they don't come up to me and say, why are we only hearing this from the critics and we never hear this stuff from you guys? You guys don't talk about this stuff. So it's a kind of inoculation. Let me go ahead and tell people about it in a safe environment. And then when they hear it from the apostate prophet, it's not as bad.
It's like he's saying the quiet part out loud. And
he just blurted it out, right?
It's better you hear it from me than from
better you hear this.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell you.
We can't deny it. It's straight out of the Quran. Sir, opening verses of Surah 66, ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering where.
So happened that Hafsa returned earlier than she was supposed to, and she saw Maria leaving her house. So she became extremely enraged, and she became irritated with the Prophet ﷺ, and she said that, Ya Rasulullah, is that how much, how do I translate this, respect you have for me, or is that what you think of me in my house and on my day?
Yes.
He didn't.
You guys catching this? On my day. Muhammad had different dates, so he'd go spend this day with this woman, spend the next day with this woman. Now, there were times when he'd bang all his wives in the same night and so on, but the general practice was to, as far as who he's staying with on a given day, he's going from one wife to the next, day after day. And this is Hafsa's day, so Muhammad is staying at Hafsa's house for this day. But she's out running errands and so on that day. And so Muhammad bangs his sex slave in Hafsa's bed. This is Hafsa's house, Hafsa's bed. He bangs his sex slave there. She comes home early. You did, seriously, you did this in my bed? On my day? My day? This is your day to spend with me, and you're banging a slave girl?
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. No, she just came in here to clean something up.
Do anything wrong. He's a human being.
You hear this? He didn't do anything wrong. He's a human being. What kind of human being wouldn't bang his sex slave in his wife's bed?
You have for me, or is that what you think of me in my house and on my day? He didn't do anything wrong. He's a human being, and he has halal access to Maria. Okay, Hafsa has the right to get irritated. Yes, we understand that. It's her house. She has the right to get irritated, right? But technically, he didn't do haram. And our Prophet ﷺ did not commit haram, right?
When he isn't busy.
Same reasoning of hijab, right? Like as messed up as this sounds to you, it's not technically haram, and therefore it's fine.
With his other wives or his multiple sex slaves, your husband will have plenty of time to spend with you. Some of the activities you can look forward to with your husband include, but are not limited to, being used as his tilth, which is soil ready to be seeded even if you are busy doing his cooking.
Regardless of what she's doing, whether she's busy cooking or whatever, when her husband calls her for that particular act, she should be ready and willing to engage.
Scraping semen off his clothes.
That he talks about, or that they usually talk about these things that are totally absurd and not very much acceptable to the average person, but then they use these nice words to not be too explicit for that particular act.
Yeah, and Shabir is doing the same thing Yasser Qadhi's doing. He understands that we are now in an age where people are going to hear this stuff. They're going to hear it. Women are going to hear it. And so you can't keep it quiet anymore. And so you need to bring this stuff out on your shows and in your channels and so on, as Muslims, as Muslim scholars, because it is, keep in mind, they're totally right. It is better, if you want to keep people in Islam and you know they're going to hear about this stuff, it's better that they hear it from you guys first, so it's not shocking when they hear it from the apostate prophet or Shake It Off or something like that. Doesn't make it not horribly disgusting, though. I mean, think of it. This is, and it's always most of it is like trying to sell it to women. And imagine, it's always women going, are you guys serious? Wait, what? What? There's no issue of consent. No, let us men tell you exactly what you need to think about this. And if you don't disagree, you're bad Muslim women. You're bad women, you're bad Muslims.
Well, the good Muslim women wouldn't hear this to begin with because they wouldn't be using the internet and wouldn't have any access to any device. Only the bad women, unfortunately, get to hear this stuff.
Yep. All right, we got the idea here. Beaten. Watch a little more.
You may even be beaten so badly that your skin turns green, just like the woman in this hadith was. Luckily, Muhammad was there to make things right by condemning the woman for being in the wrong.
Islam and human rights are in 100% agreement that women should be beaten. We only differ on who should do the beating. You say only the state can punish women. Islam says no. Power should be distributed across kinship groups. And this means that the patriarch has authority to physically discipline members of his family, including his wives, if they violate important norms and values.
In countries like Afghanistan,
I have to say something. It's quite obvious. Like Daniel Kikic talks about how the man is the master of the house and he can discipline his wife. We know very well that that's not how it works in his own home with his own wife. He obeys his wife. He says, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, darling. I'm sorry. Okay, I will be better. I apologize." And then he goes out there and he's like, "Yeah, you might have to discipline your wife." It's quite obvious.
You don't know that, AP. He might be like, "Hey, honey, you back from kindergarten today? Just so you know, we're in the U.S., so you're required to go to school. But once we move to Afghanistan." Wow. All right, so we got the idea on this video. Solaria, by the way, because we're talking here about what happens if you're not actually in the video talking to the camera. You have to compensate for that somehow because not appearing in your video, that is a disadvantage. That gives you a disadvantage over someone who's sharing information and speaking directly to the camera. So what do? One of the things that would be easy to incorporate, because I mean, keep in mind that this Shake It Off video with all these graphics, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to put in. But one thing, notice he's putting in just video clips of Muslims saying this stuff. So having the sources on the screen, notice you had sources on the screen, he's putting sources on the screen, but he's also including clips of Muslims saying this stuff. So that by itself, even if it's just you talking and you're putting sources up on the screen, if you have, you're basically looking for something that's jolting people's brains and any sort of change. That's why people change camera angles in and out. They keep zooming in and out and stuff like that. These are little, they help hold people's attention. Changing things on the screen, they just help hold people's attention. And that is like a lot of what you're trying to do on YouTube is hold people's attention. But just interspersing video clips, even if the rest of the video is a source on the screen and you talking about it and stuff like that, if like every minute or so there's a cutaway to a video clip of a Muslim, one of these Dawah guys saying this stuff, that all helps with the attention. So that's the main issue, is if you're not actually appearing on camera, how are you holding people's attention? But you can watch a video like this, and this goes for any video you're watching on YouTube. If you notice something that someone is doing that helps hold attention, you can say, "Oh, how can I incorporate that into my stuff?" All right, so guys, that was the first 6.5 minutes of a 30-some minute video. That is over on the Adventures of Shake It Off. Link is in the description box to the channel. Also, the link to Solaria's channel is in the description box.